My outstretched fingers grabbed hold of the sack's drawstring, fishing it out and starting to pull it up. I can tell you, I was not anxious to do this. It was only later, in testimony taken from others around me, that I learned how they, too, were fixated on what might be inside, and how the braver among them drew closer to me as I slipped my right hand in, while holding the sack open with my left, fingers finally touching and then seizing the object it contained in the palm of my hand. It was round, but not perfectly round. It was also sticky, so that my first thought was it might be an overripe melon, because in addition to my sense of touch, there was a sickeningly sweet odor that wafted from out of the rough-hewn bag that had me gagging in what had become a kind of slow-motion dream, where inch by inch the inside of my hand, now coated in the goo that oozed from the object I held, began to anticipate what it was, exactly what it was, and dropped it as if my palm and wrist and arm had suddenly been jolted with 1,000 volts of white-hot electrical current. The object tumbled from my hand down into the depths of the sack, and the depths of hell so far as I was concerned, and I shrieked in horror, and I shook my head from side to side and threw the sack back into the trunk, because if the object itself was no longer held up into the daylight for me to see, its image, stark as a cobra, was scorched like the negative of an old-fashioned photograph into my brain. It was a human head, severed at the neck, cut clean and sure as if by a surgeon. A human head that was small, not that of a grown man, perhaps that of a child, that had been skinned red as a pomegranate, without nose, eyes, ears, or lips. I slammed the trunk shut like I was slamming the slab to a mausoleum, trying not to keep intruders out, but to hold in the roaring sense of evil that threatened to escape from inside. It was a human head, to be sure, I pondered, steadying myself against the car as I stared out into the blur of faces around me. But whose head was it? What story did it tell?